Mentra Moments. I'm your host and current content marketing intern, Lauren Pearson, and today I have Margaux with me. I'm so excited to talk with them today, and I'll pass it over so Margaux can introduce themselves.
Yeah, hi, I'm Margaux. I also go as Retrophiliac, also known as Retrophiliac. I run a successful Etsy store, retrophiliac.etsy.com. I also have a Shopify, shopretrophiliac.com. I am an advocate activist. I'm a member of a nonprofit here in British Columbia called BC People First. I am the Lower Mainland West Regional Director. I'm a visual artist. And I fight for disabled small business owners here in BC by talking to politicians, sending out emails, doing whatever I can so that eventually we have resources available to us.
So important and very impactful. So, how does your neurodiversity allow you to perceive the world differently?
So growing up, I was always told by children and peers that I was different and weird, and they would constantly ask me why, and I didn't know. So getting an autism diagnosis as an adult kind of cleared up all those questions and gave me answers as well. And so I feel like I have a very unique worldview simply because I have just always been somebody that just views things differently, and it has kind of benefited me in many ways because I will see a solution to a problem that maybe neurotypical people will not see. So it's kind of been a really cool advantage.
Yeah, I'm neurodivergent too. I actually have autism too, so I definitely like associate with that. And yeah, it's interesting getting a diagnosis because it's like it almost opened your eyes a little more, but then it also is like, where has this been like all my life?
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I can kind of empathize with that. Yeah, thank you. So for Mentra, we believe neurodivergence is an asset rather than a weakness. And with that, we kind of like, I don't know if we coined the term neuroexceptional talent. So that kind of refers to your unique strengths that no one else has. So in lieu of that, what do you think is your neuroexceptional talent?
Yeah, so for me, it's actually really interesting because I also have obsessive compulsive disorder. And in many ways, it can be a hindrance on my day-to-day life. But a way that it actually benefits me is that I have a really innate sense of like, I'm very detail oriented. So when it comes to like inspecting merchandise I have before it goes out, I'll really look it over. Or when I'm designing something, I can kind of see the issues there. And it just helps me to be more thorough in terms of like my quality control and my design process.
Yeah, no, that's so good, especially being like a business owner. That is like very coveted traits. Like you definitely want stuff like that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So I guess you kind of explained a little bit with what you do for your job. But how do you empower neurodivergence in your job and advocacy efforts?
Yeah, so the cool thing about that is it all comes full circle. So having my online shop and actually selling neurodivergent, autistic, disabled, and like other merchandise that's more on the cute retro side, I have pins that help people communicate their feelings, and I'm always taking feedback in from other people. And my items aren't necessarily just for neurodivergent people. If any neurotypical people find that they may benefit from them, like for instance, I have a pin that says communicating is challenging for me. I have a bunch of other pins that have messages. And so the way it comes full circle is when I fight for disabled small business owners, I'm able to lead by example by saying, well, look at my business and look how successful my business is. And what I'm doing has to do with being autistic or being disabled. And it kind of all just works together in some kind of harmonious way that's really interesting. And sometimes people are like, well, how can you tie all of this together? And I have a really good answer for them because it's like, just look at my merchandise and look at what I'm fighting for.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. And I think it's so like great to have authentic representation. especially in, neurodivergent and like the disabled community, having that authentic representation and coming from someone like you, has had those experiences. I think it's just so much more impactful, and it's just, I don't know, I think it's very definitely needed. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you.
So kind of going into our next question, for Mentor, we like try to foster the relationship between like employers and neurodiversity advocacy. So we kind of recognize the importance of this. So for neurodivergents who are looking to get a job, what would your advice be? And it doesn't have to necessarily be like, a typical job. Like if they wanted to maybe start their own business, how, would they go about that?
Yeah, so I think for me, based on my experiences, don't feel like a no from like a potential employee or employer is the end of it all. Sometimes that just means you need to start opening doors for yourself. So for instance, I do not do well in a retail environment. I am the kind of person that needs to be in charge and in control and take lead. I'm a leader, not somebody that does well when tasks are delegated to me. So just because you may not be able to be employed in a traditional sense doesn't mean that the doors are closed for you to potentially be an entrepreneur. The way that I actually got started was by getting Arts Council grants, which I never thought could fund me, but being disabled, autistic, also LGBTQ plus, has kind of for me worked as an advantage, and I'm able to cater to those communities that I'm part of. So just, there are ways to have your vision come to life. If you want to be self-employed, you can do it. It may be hard, but you can do it. And in terms of where I live, resources don't really exist. But it doesn't mean that where the listener or whoever sees this, you might have resources available. You might have grants, mentorship, etc. So sometimes it just takes a lot of research, or even just like going on LinkedIn and putting it out there and connecting with people who might be in the same space as you.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with that, how kind of keep aiming for whatever you're looking for, even though it might not be the easiest to find.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to add, it's just because you may not achieve it in your teens or whatever. Like I'm in my 30s and I'm just kind of getting to where I want to be. So if you're younger and you may not see your goals being achieved, don't think that you have to achieve them by a certain date. Like sometimes things have to happen organically, and sometimes you have to meet the right people or have the right opportunities come your way to kind of start the hopefully positive chain reaction to get you to where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. So for our last question, feel free to like promote yourself. So if anyone wants to get in touch with you, how can they reach out?
Yeah, so again, I'll list off the things I listed before. So my Etsy shop is Retrophiliac, so RETROPHILIAC.etsy.com, shopretrophiliac.com, Retrophiliac art on Instagram, facebook.com/retrophiliac, Artful Retro on Twitter, and Margaux, MARGAUX, Wosk, WOSK on LinkedIn. Those are all great ways to get in touch with me. And I'm happy to answer any questions somebody may have, or share some of my knowledge, or, make a new connection.
Yeah, we'll definitely be sure to put that in the handles there. So if people want to reach you further, they can just click on it and get in touch. So yeah, on that note, thank you so much for participating and putting yourself out there and wanting to do this mentor moment segment with me. Yeah, thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much.